The
Advocate,
initiator is looking in just now. Yes, Chair, I can hear you. She's here. If you could just give her a minute.
okay,
Thank you, Chair.
thank you.
Chairperson, I think we are now ready to proceed.
Yes, Advocate, you may proceed. Welcome back, Honorable Mento and the others, and their good self.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Um, good afternoon, Ms. Mente.
Good afternoon, Vasibot.
Ms. Mente, what I intend to do with you is to ask you questions that relate to the 30th of October, 2022. August, my apologies, 2022. And these are the proceedings we've been discussing since yesterday. Do you recall the day in question?
I'll be lying if I say I recall in detail the day. It's been over a year. So I may miss some of the things because there's a lot that I cannot really recall.
Yes, but by and large, you remember the discussions that have been that we've been discussing since yesterday, just by and large.
Yes, when I see the video, yeah, some of the things, yes, I can recall.
Yes, and I'm glad you're saying once you've seen the video, you recall, because what was being discussed yesterday in relation to you specifically was you being asked to leave by the speaker. You recall being asked to leave by the speaker?
Yes, I recall being asked by the speaker, but also I
Yes.
recall asking the speaker for why.
Yes. So let's have a discussion around that. You're saying you recall being asked to leave by the speaker and you asked why. Why did you ask why you're being asked to leave?
Yeah, because if ever the speaker is asking you to leave, it's always driven by whatever circumstance that you as a member, you would have participated in and you know for a fact what you have done. And for that particular day, I cannot recall what I did. And hence I asked the speaker, why are you saying I should leave the house?
So you're saying the speaker asked you to leave the house and you do not know on what basis she was asking you to leave the house?
Absolutely. And if you look at the video, I am asking the speaker, what is it that she says I must withdraw? And I'm asking her, what is it that I should withdraw? Which was never then put to my attention as to what is it that I should have withdrawn.
Were you ever told at any point what it is that you were asked to withdraw?
No. Neither was the speaker at any point came back to the house to deliver her verdict on the undertaking she makes at the end of the video when she says, what you have said is on Hansard.
It's interesting you should say that, and you would have been observing the proceedings since yesterday. I took Mr. Glasso through another instance, which I don't think is in dispute, which in fact he confirmed that there is a member of parliament from the African National Congress Party who had similarly been asked to withdraw. Let me restate that. the speaker had asked the member to confirm that what he's being accused of, he had in fact said. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall, I don't think it's in dispute, do you recall that Mr. Dlomo then said, no speaker, and to which the speaker responded, I will not make a ruling. Before I make a ruling, I will go and confirm with the Hansard whether what you've been accused of having said, you in fact said. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do recall.
In other words, he was not asked to withdraw despite or because the speaker did not know whether he had said what he's accused of. Is that so?
Absolutely correct. And ordinarily, if I may expand, ordinarily, if a speaker did not hear what you said, that's what they always say, a chair or a speaker, whoever presides over the house, if they did not get what was said, they always have to first go to Hansard and then come back to make a ruling.
Yes. I want your opinion on this. If the speaker had taken the position that she had taken with Mr. Dlomo, would there be any reason for the speaker? Well, let me start here. If the speaker had made the ruling she had made in relation to Mr. Dlomo, then she wouldn't have said withdraw, is it?
Absolutely correct.
And then you would have had, do you want to come in?
Sorry, Chair. I don't know whether the witness would be in a position to decide, to determine, or to give an opinion on what the speaker would or would not have done.
I think that's a fair objection, Speaker. You wouldn't have to make a ruling on it. I accept the objection. All I'm simply trying to get at is this, and I'm soliciting your opinion on it. What the initiator is suggesting is that you can't be in the mind of the speaker, and therefore you can't speak for what the speaker would have done, and I accept that. Similarly with Mr. Klaas, obviously the same principle must apply when the committee considers. All I'm simply getting at is, Ms. Mente, would there have been a reason for the speaker to order you out of the house if you had not defied her ruling?
At this point, Advocate, one would not even have to be asked to leave the house if the speaker had applied the ruling the similar manner she applied the rule on the member of the ANC, where she said she will refer to the Hansard and then come back to make a ruling. And the plea of that day on the video is that, what is it that I said? And if you listen carefully to the video, is that there is context to what is being said, and the speaker did not then say, okay, then let's look at the context. In a similar manner, which the member of the ANC raised and said, I cannot remember what I said, Speaker, therefore, please refer to the Hansard. So there was no need for the speaker to ask me to leave the house without having ascertained what is it that was said.
Yes, thank you. I don't think anything turns on this factual inaccuracy. So Mr. Dlomo did not say, I cannot recall. He denied having said what he's being accused of. But that changes nothing in terms of your answer, because the simple point is the speaker was prepared to not make a ruling on a basis of something she doesn't know. Now, let's deal with this then as the final point, and this is the concluding remark I'm going to solicit from you. If I understand your evidence, you are saying if the speaker had taken care to ascertain the facts before she asks you to do something, i.e. withdraw, had she done that, then she wouldn't have had to ask you to leave for asking why. And she wouldn't have had to ask for the security services to kick you out of the house as a result of that, had she from the start applied the same principles she applied to Dr. Dlomo. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely correct. The inconsistency in application of the law which governs the House by the Speaker on that day would not have applied to me if it didn't apply to Dlomo.
Sorry, Chair. Just to object that was obviously a heavily leading question, just for the record.
She's raising it for the record, Speaker. I presume you'd have made a note and perhaps it's something we'll take up in argument. Chair, that's the sum total of my examination, Chief. Thank you, Chair.
Chair. Chairperson, may I proceed?
Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Ms. Menti. Ms. Menti, I shouldn't be long with you, but all the questions are actually very specific. And I'm grateful for my learned friend for going directly to the issue. Thank you. Ms. Menti, the issue that your advocate raised with Mr. Kaso was really an issue of fairness. Do you recall that?
Yes, I recall the question, the cross-questioning.
Yes. So in respect of your case and your answer to the charges and or allegations, the only issue raised was one of fairness and that you were not treated fairly by the Speaker when she asked you to withdraw a statement or a remark that you had made in the House. So I've noted in your evidence in chief, you said you don't really recall what happened on the day in question. But when you looked at the video, it kind of came back to you.
Sorry if I may come in there, my apologies. Just by way of correction, in fairness to the witness, firstly, that's not the issue, the only issue, the issue of fairness. The other issue is whether the Speaker knows what she had said or not. So it's not just the inconsistent application of the principle, but the fact that she made a ruling on a basis of facts she doesn't have. Just in fairness to the witness.
Chair, the issue that I have here was one of fairness, really. And I'll get to the issue of whether the Speaker knew or did not know what Ms. Menti had said. So, Ms. Menti, what struck me from the video, but also more from the Hansard transcription, is that at no stage did you deny that you had made disturbing and or threatening remarks to Ms. Ngweba. I don't see that anywhere. Do you have a comment on that?
Maybe we're watching two different videos, because on that particular video, the opening remark is that the threat came from the side to the members, and in protection of the members, I had to do something, whatever it is that was happening. But it was not the fact of the matter. I don't recall what I said.
Ms. Menti, when you go, and I will take you to the Hansard in just a moment, but just in case you misunderstood me, nowhere in the Hansard recording, which is a verbatim transcription of the proceedings and what was said in the House on the 30th of August 2022, nowhere, there is not one word of a denial on your part when the Speaker confronts you about remarks that you made. And just for good order, let us go to the Hansard transcription. Let's go to page 387. The issue plays itself out over about 2 or 3 pages. But let me take you through what I see happened here. Do you have the relevant page?
Come again?
Do you have the relevant pages of Hansard?
Yes.
Okay, so if you could just bear with me. And I go through this exercise being mindful of the fact that you yourself have admitted you don't really recall what happened. So when we go to page 387, well, even before 387, the Honorable Zulu is on her feet, and she then conveys to the Speaker that 2 women in the House on either side, and I accept her to mean that on the side of the ANC, there was someone who made a remark, and on the other side, she was meaning the EFF had made a remark. In other words, you had made disturbing and or threatening and or unbecoming remarks to each other. That is what Honorable Zulu then got up on her feet to say to the Speaker. That is on page, I think it's on page 384. And let me just read 2 sentences to you on page 384. Minister Zulu says, what is actually very disturbing right now is that members of the EFF in the front and members on this side are actually going to the point of almost talking physical threats against each other. No, honorable member, really. She continues on page 385. I'm not going to read the entire section. It is there for the committee to see. And she confirms that they have heard the physical threats that were made. Then when you fast forward to page 387, the Speaker then addresses you, Honorable Menti, and Honorable Magweba. Honorable Magweba, as we know, is a member of the ANC. She addresses both of you. In other words, it's an accurate statement to make that she reprimanded both of you. Do you agree with that? It's in the Hansard.
Now I see what is in the Hansard. So what's the question about that?
Yes. As I said, also giving the fact that you don't remember so well, I'm taking this issue as it played out in the House, also for the assistance of the committee. So on page 387, the Speaker reprimands both of you. She says, Honorable Menti, Honorable Magweba, with all due respect, I'm appealing to both of you to withdraw what you said to one another for the benefit of this House. What precedes that is that the speaker then tells both of you that this is Women's Month, this is not how women behave, and that you are supposed to be exemplary to the people of South Africa watching you live as you behave in the House. At the bottom, Ms. Mgweba says, "Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I withdraw." So I am telling you, Ms. Menti, that up until this point, the Speaker was absolutely fair when she treated you and Ms. Mgweba equally. She did not finger you out or target only you. Do you have a comment on that?
Except that you are reading convenient clauses of this Hansard. You are not reading the Hansard that refers to me and the incident or whatever we call it in its entirety. Because the response which is there on Hansard, which I make, is very clear on the context which the speaker did not want to hear. So you cannot then say the speaker was fair. There is no fair. The speaker was not fair.
We are getting to page 388. I'm not finished yet. What I am putting to you,
I'm not going to agree that the speaker was fair.
Okay, I didn't expect you to agree to that.
Honorable Mentor, please give each other time for the benefit of the House. Allow her to speak and then you respond in that order. Thank you.
No, she must also not speak when I'm still answering.
Ms. Menti, so we will continue. That is up until page 387. So when we then go to 388, the speaker says, "Thank you very much." And then she turns to you and she says, "Honorable Menti." You say, "Thank you very much, Speaker. I will not withdraw protecting my members because she after Dr. Dlomo." The speaker then interjects. Ms. Menti, you say again, "No, you want, there is context to everything." The speaker then tries to bring some order to you because from the video you could see that you were shouting at the speaker and the speaker was trying to calm you down. Again, you repeat there is context. Then at the bottom, you say to the speaker, "You are not going to sit here and intimidate my members." Over the page, on page 389, you say, "It will never happen." The speaker tries again to calm you down, to restore some order and respect, because the video will show that you continued to shout. Then you say further down the page, "I want you to be clear, Speaker." The speaker says, "I'm requesting you, it does not matter what happened." You say, "No, it matters, it matters, it matters, Speaker." Then over the page, in the middle of the page, Ms. Menti, you say, "Honorable Speaker, my member was threatened by another member after Dlomo also threatened his children." Then I will jump and I will go back to what you say. "Secondly, she threatens my member and I must sit here and be quiet when my member..." The speaker says, "No, honorable member, no, honorable Menti. It is not going to happen that my members are threatened whilst I am here." Over the page, you again say, "It will never happen, it will never happen." In the middle of the page, you say, "Then I must sit here and fold my arms." I am not going to do that. I am not going to do it, Speaker. I'm not going to withdraw protecting my members. So, Ms. Menti, in your engagement with the speaker, not once do you deny making disturbing and or threatening remarks. Not once. What do you say to that?
I do not know what is threatening remarks in your context because the Hansard does not have record of what was threatening. So do not put words in my mouth. So your context of what was threatening and what was not threatening is not there. So if ever the sequence of events as they play out have got what I said, which Lomo denied and was referred to Hansard, and when I am asking the speaker to look into context, she refuses to it. There's nothing I can do about that. The inconsistencies, and let's also clarify one thing. Let's not confuse passion with shouting. When you're passionate about doing something and saying it passionately must never be confused for shouting, because when shouting really, you will not like me.
Ms. Menti, I'm not going to get into a debate with you whether you shouted or screamed or whether you were disrespectful. The video clip that we showed yesterday speaks for itself. The committee can look at it themselves.
But
So
you
on
have already said it clearly that you
392,
are not shouting.
Ms. Menti, as I said, you shouted, it's clear from the video. If I was wrong, I'm sure that your counsel will immediately object. But even if I am wrong, the committee can make up their own mind from what they see and observe on the video. On page 392, and bear with me, it's just the last 2 or 3 pages. You then say in the middle, you did not hear us. You are being told. The speaker then insists, Honorable Menti, please withdraw. What must I withdraw? What must I withdraw? The speaker says, Honorable Menti, withdraw. How Honorable Menti withdraw? Then Menti, please leave the house. You say, what must I withdraw? If you can't take the order, leave the house. It is my ruling, Honorable Member. It is my ruling. Leave the house, no Honorable Shivambu. Then I will get back to page 392, Ms. Menti, but just to close off this point, on page 393, the speaker says, I have ruled that Honorable Menti should leave the house. Honorable Menti, leave the house. The speaker then says again, Honorable Menti, please leave the house. If you can't, withdraw. Will you please leave the house? The speaker then calls the sergeant at arms because you then refused to obey the speaker. On the next page, on page 394, she then asks the sergeant at arms to request the Women Parliamentary Protection Services to escort you out. You still refused to do that. As the end of the page on page 394 shows, Honorable Menti, please leave the house. So just to close off this point, let us go back to page 392, where you say, what must I withdraw? That is preceded by a remark to the speaker where you say, you did not hear us. You are being told. But this is what I put to you, Ms. Menti. Although you ask the speaker, what must I withdraw? You never at any stage tell her that you deny again, that you deny having made any type of remarks to Ms. Mgweba. You rather use this opportunistically because you know the speaker did not hear both of you. What do you say to that?
It's exactly for that reason that you ought to know yourself. If she did not hear it, Kaso was here in cross-examination, explaining at length at what point are the remarks that play themselves out in the House are being requested to be withdrawn. And once the Speaker is satisfied that whatever was said is unparliamentary, then that must be withdrawn. At that point, she didn't know what was said and what was being said at the point. I told the Speaker that in the context of it, go and hear what was the context of what was happening. So there was nothing for me to deny more than that the Speaker had to go and establish what was being said.
Yes. So earlier on in the interaction, when the Speaker addressed both you and Ms. Magweba, the Speaker and Ms. Zulu pointed out threatening remarks, disturbing remarks at that juncture when that was said. Why didn't you then call a point of order and say to the Speaker that this is wrong? I did not say that. I did not make any type of remark like that. You did not tell her that.
It depends on how you want to understand it. But the fact that I told her that listen to the context of what was being said, the similar way when Mkhaliphi stood on a point of order to report that the member of the ANC was threatening her and she wanted to establish what was being said. She did not ask me what was being said. She just told me to withdraw.
So when
can I finish?
Yes, please go ahead.
So if you are looking at how the Speaker reacted to the point of order by Mkhaliphi against Domo and the point of order by Zulu against whatever was presumably said by me and Mgweba, the action thereof is different. The action was not of establishing what we said. The action was ultimatum that withdraw. Whatever you said, I'm not interested in hearing it. And that's how not you run a house.
So Ms. Minty, again, because you did not answer my question, why didn't you raise a point of order to rectify the Speaker? And a follow-up question which you may answer together. Why did you yourself not ask the Speaker to check Hansard?
For Hansard to be checked doesn't mean that the member must directly ask the Speaker for Hansard. Once you explain to the Speaker that look at the context of this, that means exactly that go and establish what was the context of what was happening. And in fact, all these questions you are asking, there is no Hansard where it captured me saying anything. And that should be enough for you to understand that there was nothing which I have said. There is nothing in the Hansard capturing what I have said which was offensive, neither unparliamentary. And it should be informing your line of questioning rather than what was happening, me protecting myself from an illegal instruction of the Speaker.
Okay, Ms. Minty, what is very clear from Hansard in particular, and also from the video clip evidence, is that you were blatantly defiant when the Speaker tried to address you. You were utterly disrespectful to her, and you disrespected her authority. What do you say to that?
If you see that as disrespect when you do not know what was being said, then whatever informed position that you have taken is an unfair position yourself, because you ought to be informed by what is it that was offensive said by a member. And I have no obligation of standing up in the House and take illegal and unlawful instructions from the Speaker. The conduct of the Speaker on that particular day was very much illegal, because she ought to have asked, what is it that you have said, rather than giving an ultimatum of telling people
not to say anything but withdraw. At some point, she even says, I'm not quoting her verbatim, but she says something like, it's irrelevant if I know or I don't know. At this point, I'm asking you to withdraw. And you do not do that.
So what is also clear from Hansard is that you, when you spoke to the speaker, when you responded to her, you made it very clear to her that you were not going to keep quiet. You were not going to sit and keep quiet while Ms. Magweba was allegedly threatening you or a fellow EFF member. So that strongly suggests that you made the remarks that were threatening, or you made remarks that were threatening and or disturbing.
Where are those remarks? Because you cannot fabricate evidence yourself. Where are the remarks that I said? If you can point me to the remarks that have led to the speaker to take such a decision, I'll be happy, because I have no recollection of me offending anyone. So where are the remarks that I've said? Do not fabricate and make a case, because you are now adding a case and you are making a case. You are actually suggesting that there are remarks that I've made. Where are they?
So it seems to me, and I must put this to you because this is what I will argue, is that based on Hansard, you accepted that you made these remarks because you did not deny it.
The fact that there is no denial, and I've said this with you, do not conveniently read the Hansard. The reaction that is there on the Hansard is on the basis of protest when the speaker asked me to withdraw something I did not say. And at that point, Dlomo had already intimidated my members, which he stood up to say he does not know what happened. And the speaker said, I will go to Hansard. What was stopping the speaker from saying the same thing, to say, okay, if there's context, therefore let's go look for context and then come back and rule on it?
Yes. So see, this is all after the fact. This is all after the fact, but the transcription is a verbatim transcription as to what transpired in the House on the day. So this is a very, very accurate description of what was said, and very importantly, what was not said. So if it's your view, Ms. Menti, that the speaker acted illegally, why did you not invoke Rule 8 of the National Assembly rules as a remedy?
Number one, you know, you are speaking for someone whom you refuse to bring here. And unfortunately, once a speaker makes an undertaking that I'll listen to the Hansard and come back to the House, that ruling is binding, and therefore the speaker was supposed to have come back with it, which she did not do. And conveniently, you are not concerned with that. And you are jumping for a rule that is not applicable when a person has made an undertaking, which she did not follow through herself as a speaker. So I think then you must go back to the rules of parliament and understand the process thoroughly and how it works. And number two, the issue of the rules and the law that applies to the House. My legal team is best placed to expand on how the law that governs the House works. What I'm dealing with right now is what is on Hansard verbatim from me, and what I did not say, which led to what you are reading. And then number three, what you are seeing here being said as a protest is a build-up of something, an accusation made by a member of the ANC, which the speaker took it as a gospel truth and asked me to withdraw something which is not on Hansard. You also don't know what I said. So you ought to be preoccupied about what is it exactly that the member said, because I can't find it on Hansard.
Ms. Menti, are you finished?
Yes.
Yes. So you didn't answer my question, but I will leave it at that and I will address it again during legal argument. But there was clearly a remedy available to you which you did not use or invoke. And I must infer from that, as I will argue, that at the time that it happened on the 30th, you were not of the view that what the speaker did was illegal or unlawful. And that is what I will argue. So just turning to just the last one or two questions, and then I will finish my cross-examination. When you refused to withdraw the remarks that you made, the speaker then asked you to leave. Why did you not leave?
Because I was being illegally removed. The speaker had not told me what I said. What did I do? The speaker ought to have said, because you have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, therefore you must leave the house. The speaker did not tell me that.
You see, the speaker had made a ruling that both you and Ms. Magweba from the ANC had to withdraw your respective remarks. So she had ruled on the point, and she had given you an instruction, and you defied her, disrespected her authority as the Speaker of the House.
A ruling based on what? Because that ruling was based on what did I say, which the speaker did not answer.
So this brings me to the previous question that I asked you, which you didn't answer. If you had an issue with the lawfulness of what she did, and I'm only using your words, it was illegal, you said, there was a remedy that you could invoke, which you didn't invoke. So instead, what you did your own thing. You disrespected her. And you refused to leave the house.
Once more, I'm going to refer you to the legal team to deal with the issue of how the law in the house works. But one thing I'm going to answer is that irrespective of how you look at it, for as long as there is no remarks made by me on Hansard, there was no basis for me to be asked to withdraw anything. And that should not have led to me being asked to vacate the house.
Yeah. So you didn't invoke Rule 9212, which has to go to the Rules Committee, nor did you invoke Rule 8, which speaks, if I'm not mistaken, on general rulings made by the Speaker. Instead, you openly defied a ruling made by the Speaker. In that sense, you clearly contravened a rule, with the result that the Speaker had no choice but to call the Sergeant at Arms to escort you out, which you also refused. You refused to cooperate, which means that you contravened another rule.
I don't understand how you are asking a question of me not invoking a remedy in the house where there was no remedy for me to use. The only remedy I had was the Speaker to go and refer to Hansard. And I'm not so sure then what else should I have done in the house for my protection as an elected member to go and represent the people and as a whip of the organization of the EFF to protect the members that are under my custody at the time. So I'm not so sure what do you mean when you say I did not use, there was a remedy that I had. I had no remedy. The Speaker gave me an ultimatum and didn't want to listen. And also for the record is that when you are saying the Speaker was calm and all of that, the Speaker was not calm. The Speaker had already threatened the entire caucus of the EFF that it must stop speaking, it must not raise any point of order, to a point where even the point of order which led us to where we are today was raised by an ANC member who was then allowed to speak when we were not allowed to speak, when we were not allowed to say anything in the House. And from the member of the ANC having said whatever she said, a speaker takes an ultimatum and says, whatever you said is irrelevant at this point. Just withdraw. Withdraw what? Even yourself, you are making a case which is not informed by anything, because the Hansard does not have any record of me saying anything else. All the videos you have watched of me raising point of orders, reading the rule book and all of that, there's nothing that suggests that I threatened people. So I'm not so sure what then you are referring to. And then I'm not so sure if maybe you are adding some other charges to all these frivolous charges that I'm charged with.
Yeah. So Ms. Menti, all of what you were saying now, just it doesn't relate to the point at all. You know, and you suddenly are ignorant of the remedies in the rules. And let me just read Rule 8 to you, because you seem to be perhaps ignorant or you're conveniently disregarding your remedies. Rule 8 of the National Assembly rules deals with rulings. And I will jump straight to sub-rule 3 under 8. It says the following. Members must comply with rulings made by presiding officers. 4. A member may request that a ruling be referred to the Rules Committee for consideration and report. There is your remedy.
Sorry, Chairperson. Sorry, Ms. Benton. I apologize to the initiator as well. At this point, I must object, Chair. Legal propositions are put to the witness over and over and over again. She had said multiple times, I'm here to answer to the factual claims. This committee is a fact-finding committee. I was reprimanded when I was asking Mr. Glasso to give an opinion about the lawfulness of what was done, and I retracted the question. The same is being done to Ms. Mente over and over again. I repeat, she's here to answer factual questions, not what she's entitled to in law, not whether she complied with the rules or not. So I'm asking that that line of questioning cease, Chair.
Thank you, Advocate. Initiator, can we take that route? And
yes, Chair.
also to
Can
advise you
I
on the
first
issue of time. Left with few
Can I
minutes.
first answer to that, Chair?
Yes.
Thank
You
you.
may.
I'm very happy to be guided by the committee, but this is my response to the objection raised by my learned friend. At no stage whatsoever have I put a legal proposition to Ms. Menti, nor have I asked her to comment on any legal proposition, nor have I invited her to give her legal opinion on any issue pertaining to this matter. The question as to the remedy, you will recall, was traversed with Mr. Glasso in his evidence in chief, in cross-examination, and then I don't think in re-examination, but it was a feature, a pertinent feature of his evidence. It was also an issue that Ms. Menti had introduced. In her view, it is not my words. It was her words where she said that the speaker was acting illegally. As a matter of evidence, as a matter of cross-examination, I'm entitled to probe that opinion with her. She raised it. And the second
Thank you,
issue-
Initiator. Can you proceed?
Thank you. So, Ms. Menti, even, and this is my final proposition to you, even if you disagreed with what the speaker had done or said or ruled, it doesn't matter. You must respect the ruling and or order of the speaker. Your remedy is there for you to take it up at a later stage. But you directly contravened two further rules when you disrespected the authority of the speaker when she asked you to leave.
Sorry again, Chairperson. Sorry, I must interject again. As I understand,
Yes, advocate.
examination of a witness is putting questions to the witness. It's happening again, where proposition after proposition after proposition is put to her without a question. That's arguing with the witness. I'd rather the questions solicit answers rather than arguing with the witness. I must respectfully object again, Chairperson.
Initiator, can you put a question?
Sorry, Chair. During cross-examination, I am not only permitted to question the witness, to ask her direct questions, but I am also permitted as a matter of cross-examination rules to put propositions to the witness for her comment. I am not just confined to direct questions. The questions, my concluding questions, by the way, or propositions to Ms. Menti was entirely appropriate because it goes to the essence of the charges against Ms. Menti. In actual fact, it mimics to a large extent the wording of the charges. I am within my full right to put that proposition to her for her comment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Initiator. Are you
That
done?
is also the end of my cross-examination. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Menti. Advocate, I will now invite you to re-examine your witness.
If I can just come in there and just take direction from you. My understanding was there was agreement that I will only re-examine once the committee has had an opportunity to put questions to my witness. Can I please just take direction from you, Chair, in that respect?
Initiator, can you assist me on this one?
Yes, Madam Chair. I have no objection to that approach, save that it's with one caveat, which I think I may have placed on record previously, that the re-examination is obviously confined to re-examination and the rules of re-examination. It doesn't mean that the committee's questions will now broaden the scope of the re-examination. But other than that, I have no objection to that approach.
Thanks. If you don't have any objection, we are in your hands. We'll proceed. I will now invite honorable members to make clarity-seeking question to the witness. Staff members, assist me to identify hands from honorable members. Please.
Ms. Speaker's hand is up. At the moment, it's only her hand I see. Chair.
Yes.
Ms.
You are
Speaker's
saying
hand is
it's only the honorable Grace Seke's hand.
and Ms. Tagude,
Yes.
the chief whip. Only those
Yes.
two for now.
Okay. Honorable members, you are at liberty to can ask clarity seeking question to the witness. The rule of 15 minutes still applies for all of us for this session.
Mr. Mlenzana's hand is up. Chair, maybe you should give opportunity to Ms. Tseke.
I did so. I invited her. Honorable Tseke, please.
Oh, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Chair. I think the session went quiet, so I was not very sure whether I should continue or not. And thanks to your good self. Good afternoon, Honorable Mente.
Yeah, molweni.
Dumela Sisi, how are you?
Ndiyaphila kunjani?
Ndiyaphila nam. I'm not quite sure, Chair. Should I ask all my questions or should I pose my questions one by one and request Honorable Mente to respond?
I
Can you
think
guide?
it's better to ask all the questions so that she jot them down, and then during response she will know exactly which questions comes from which honorable member. Please.
Okay, thank you so much for your guidance, Honorable Chair. Honorable Mente, my first question, what do you know about the authority of the Speaker when presiding over House proceedings within the context of the rules of the National Assembly? My second question is what you did on that day accord with the decorum of the House? The third one, why didn't you alert the Speaker to what was happening instead of saying that you are not apologetic about protecting your EFF members? Are you still with me, Honorable Mente?
Yeah, well, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
writing.
All right. The fourth one, can you take this hearing to your confidence and tell us as to what happened between you and Honorable Mugweba on that day? The other one, the reasonable conclusion is that whatever you said was unparliamentary on that day. What are your comments, Honorable Mente? The very last question, how can you persuade the hearing to find in you favor, given that you were not upfront to the Speaker about what transpired on the day? I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Tseke. Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Tlhakude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Mente, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Deputy Chief Whip.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mente, as a leader in your own party, and at some point you were defending your own members, what make you challenge the ruling of the Speaker in the House instead of following the relevant processes if you were not satisfied with her ruling? on that day, because the rules are clear that the ruling of the Speaker cannot be challenged at that point, and there are processes to be followed. Why didn't you take that route as a leader? Then my second question is that was it okay, in your own opinion, for members of the EFF in the House, especially those whom you are charged with, to call for the spurious points of orders, even though the Speaker indicated that she will no longer take any points of orders? Then my last question to you, again as a leader, what is it that you think will ensure that as honorable members of Parliament, we maintain the decorum of the House? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Jakote. Honorable Mlenzana.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, and once more, good afternoon, Honorable Member.
Afternoon, ma'am.
No, just two questions from me. It's not many. One, it's just for record purposes. If you understand the rules of the House, as I assume you do, the question would be, do you always adhere to the rules of the House? If yes, you can justify. If no, why? Or at what stage do you sometimes not adhere to the rules of the House? And then the last question, Chair, would be to Honorable Mente. Honorable Mente, what is your understanding of the term defiance and also the term contempt? I'm asking these two in relation to the current hearing. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mlenzana. Honorable Mente, can you please respond to the questions?
There's
Sorry,
another
Chair.
hand, Chair.
There's another, Mr. Kawa's hand is up, Chair.
Honorable Kaba.
Apologies. Thank you. Sawona assessment. Kunjani?
Yeah. Siyaphila kunjani?
Siyabonga ne. No, ithi ngibonge ngokuthi ucorporate ube khona to
Mr. Kaba, your network is so bad. We can't hear anything. Mr. Kaba, your network is very, very bad. We don't hear anything.
Leader you are.
Honorable Kaba.
Which all of us are as
Honorable
taken
Kaba, can you, Honorable
your
Kaba,
understanding. Hear you, Chair.
I am saying your
you hear
network
me?
is very bad. Your network is very bad. We could not hear you from the beginning, but now you were coming up. Can you change the position? I hope Honorable Mente didn't hear anything too.
Oh, I did not
Chair.
hear anything.
Chair, can I suggest something? If the network continues to be bad for Mr. Xaba, maybe you could simply write the question on the chat.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to request, because really we don't hear him. And Honorable Mente too won't hear what he's saying.
Okay.
Honorable Xaba, do that in writing,
Okay,
please.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And then in the meantime, I'll request Honorable Mente to start responding in the interest of time. Over to you, Honorable Mente.
Thank you, Chair. No, Chair. In majority, the questions are directed at the rules and the application thereof. And the difficulty here is rules of the House start with the Speaker, because she or the Chair that presides over the House, because they are the responsible people to ensure that those rules are applied fairly and applied correctly. And unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have a speaker to ask, why did you then invoke this particular rule without having followed a certain process which you have already followed? In this case, before the incident we're speaking about now, before it arose, there was 2 members of the ANC, one being Lamula, on the Minister Lamula on virtual, he was quoted verbatim on what he said, and he was asked to withdraw because he could own up to what was quoted. Then there was another member, Member Lomo, who denied what he said and referred the speaker to Hansard. And when it came to me to say, go look into the context of what I said, the speaker plainly refused. Therefore, the issue of the rules then that don't apply, because you cannot then refuse to follow your own rules, which you have applied throughout the session of the House. That inconsistency on its own speaks unfairness and also speaks to I wanna deal with you kind of attitude. So the issue of rules, maybe then, if the speaker was here, we would be able to say what was supposed to have happened if she was here to then unpack the application of her own rules at that particular moment. Same applies to the issue of the decorum, because the decorum is held in the House. How you conduct the House is how the House then will follow your leadership. But if your leadership is problematic, the House is going to be problematic with you. You cannot start by shutting down members and say members must not speak. And when I was answering the initiator, I said, if she was allowing everyone to speak, we would have spoken on many issues. But then she became favorable where she only took hands from the ANC. And when they spoke at length on accusations and informing her of what was happening, which she took it as a gospel truth, then there's nothing I can do about that. She's the one who's destroying the decorum. You can't take gossip and then rule the House on the basis of gossip without ascertaining the facts. All that the speaker had to do was to say, well, if that's what happened, then let me go back to the Hansard and get context, then and tell the members to withdraw. Obviously, the ANC member was going to withdraw to whatever, because the speaker is the ANC person, so therefore, she was going to be held liable if she didn't withdraw. But the ultimatum of withdrawing is on a basis of the speaker knowing exactly and sure that these particular words that were said in the House are unparliamentary, offensive, or unconstitutional for whatever reason. And as a leader, Mam Dlakodi, I know very well that once you steer the ship, if you press wrong buttons, the ship is going to go the wrong way. Therefore, as a leader, you ought to allow the processes of holding the executive accountable flow. And on that particular day, the questions that were being asked by the members of the EFF had nothing to do with spurious point of orders, but were fact-finding from trying to make the president to answer the questions. And the speaker had no grounds to stop the members from answering the questions. What she had to do, she was supposed to put the questions as they are to the president, and the president would have said, because that one was not part of what I'm supposed to be answering at this point, I will then go and find out what is the information. And that has been what is happening in the House. That has been the rule that we have been all following. So on that particular day, the speaker just shut down people without even asking the president, are you able to answer that question, as we always do to every other person? Therefore, the issue of decorum does not arise. If you press wrong buttons, the ship is going to sink with you. The adherence is the same thing. You adhere to fair rules, constitution, and the lawfulness of everything that's applied. So you cannot adhere to things that you don't understand. And in this case, it's very clear to the members of the committee what is being on Hansard quoted and being used is me protesting on what did I say, which is not recorded anywhere. There's no video of it. There's no Hansard of it. But I'm being evicted from the House for something I do not know, for something I did not say, for something that's not anywhere. So there's fabrication of charges on the basis that I said something which no one can own up to it. And therefore, there is no right person in their right mind that will just go and follow. You follow the law only when the law is treating you fairly. But the last thing also is that, I think Merla Kuti asked this. The last thing is that when the speaker makes an undertaking on a daily basis, we get chairpersons of the House coming back with rulings of Hansard of the undertakings they have made on previous days. And the speaker had not done that. So you ought to ask yourself, where is the undertaking of the speaker when she's filing a report to the Rules Committee? Because before she files a report to the Rules Committee, she should have herself complied with the rules of bringing the undertaking to say, these two honorable members said the following, and therefore I stand by my rule, or therefore because they have indicated they didn't say anything, I withdraw my ruling. That did not happen. So I'm not so sure then what else that has to happen on this issue. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Let me read Honorable Kaba's question. Try just to listen to me.
That's
He's asking in this way, Honorable Mente, do you understand that you are here as self, not as a party? That's the first question. Do you understand that you are here as a self, not as a party? That's the first question. The second question, have you had opportunity to understand committee roles? Because advocate misinterpreted it. We are not only a fact-finding committee. So these are the two questions Honorable Kaba has asked. I will request that you respond. And honorable members were left with 1 minute, but for the sake of peace, I will make sure that we add 5 minutes to this session, so that if you still want to make some follow-up, you will be allowed to do so. If not, it will be fine. We'll release Honorable Mente. Over to you, Honorable Mente.
No, thank you very much, Chair. No, Chair, it is exactly for this reason that the composition of the committee is under question. And this matter is the one that my legal team has ventilated upon in the opening remarks, and again today to say we have not yet dealt with the matters in court and all of that, because one, the composition of the committee and me coming to the committee as an opposition member, one cannot take away from the fact that, one, the committee or itself, its majority is the ruling party, and the very same ruling party that is charging me. Therefore, you cannot then divorce me from the collective and what is happening. And then the next thing is, I'm charged as a member of parliament. And as a member of parliament of the EFF, the speaker also made it clear that the members of the EFF will not allow you to speak anymore. So when we are treated as a collective there, we must always defend ourselves as a collective. And I'm here again as a member of parliament representing the EFF. So every time I speak, I am going to quote the people that voted for the EFF and sent me to parliament, and therefore speak on their behalf. Because every treatment that is meted against the members of EFF is a treatment against the voters of the EFF. Therefore, those two matters are not, they cannot be divorced from each other. So the issue of the composition, me understanding it, I've said it. The composition of this committee is what is under question. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable members, we have got 2 minutes left. Do you have any follow-up questions? Is there anyone with a follow-up question?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Staff, assist me, Deputy Chief Whip.
I'm here, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much. Honorable Mente, you said in your response the questions, you were asking questions to the President. But as a member of parliament, you know very well that questions are in sequence. They are numbered. And the question that was being asked was not question number 1. We were on question number 1. Then, in your understanding, because that question was coming, I think it was question number 5. In your understanding, do you think jumping from question 1 to question 5 was the correct way of doing things? Because that question was still coming. So if you can clarify that for
Thank
me.
you.
Then the last one,
Thank
Honorable
you.
Chair, if I can still a second. The composition of this committee, is it not constituted the same way with other portfolio committees of parliament? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mente.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
Lenzana, Chair. Sorry,
Yeah, can we?
Lenzana and
Yes, I've seen you and Seke. I've noted
No,
you.
thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Let's allow Honorable Mente to respond. Honorable Mente, you may proceed, please.
Yeah, I think I need to clarify to the committee once more. It's not up to the speaker to prevent members from speaking. The speaker could have allowed the question to be answered by the president, and the president would have easily said, the question is coming and I'll answer. We've always been doing that, not unless in this particular case, then we're going to apply a new convention of the House, but it's always been the case. And then number 2, the composition of this committee, this is not just like any other committee. This is a committee called Powers and Privileges. Therefore, privilege of members of parliament cannot be fulfilled if ever is going to be decided by the people who are charging you. The other portfolio committees and everything, that one is neither here nor there. This particular one is a committee that deals with privileges and powers of members. Therefore, there's no way that my power and my privilege will be restored by the people that have charged me, whose speaker had filed a frivolous case against me. Therefore, that also is not arising. Thank you.
Honorable Mlenzana.
Sorry,
Thanks,
Chair.
Chairperson. Thanks,
So-
Chairperson. I will try to be very brief, Chairperson. Honorable Mente, let me put it to you for your comment. Taking for your response that you deliberately veered from adhering to the rules of the House, and as such took a decision to defy the presiding officer, thus bringing the House to contempt for whatever reason. But your reason driven you to such. Your comments, please.
Thank you, Honorable Mlenzana. Honorable Mente.
There's nothing to comment about. That's a foregone conclusion. That's what you think. I can't comment on what you think. That's your view.
Thank you, Honorable Mente. Thank you. Honorable Grace Seke.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Mente, I must say upfront that you have not responded to most of the questions that we have asked to your good self. You are so generic, but nonetheless, it's okay. It's fine with you. It's fine with us because we can be able to make a determination out of what you are responding from. Just to check with you, Honorable Mente, do you normally in the National Assembly as the leader of the EFF utilize the rules of the National Assembly? If yes, what do you understand by Rule 154 and Rule 211? Just to be specific. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Grace Seke. Honorable Mente, can you respond?
Yeah, Chair, once more, I'm going to go back to the very same thing I said to the initiator. I'm here to answer to what is said on the Hansard and what I'm being charged for. So the issue of the rules that I must unpack, you can ask them to the legal team, they will unpack them on their application as well. And I have also made an indication that it takes two to tango in the House. Therefore, you can't ask me about the rules that the Speaker, which when she's invoking them, is not here then to unpack at what point did she make that decision, for what reason. If it's under contest, therefore she must then validate the contest. And I've answered questions. You asked similar questions. There's nothing new that you have asked. Therefore, there's nothing new for me to say. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Honorable Mente, for the responses. Honorable members, at this stage, I will allow or give an opportunity for Advocate Kasiboto to re-examine his witness. The 15 minutes rule applies. Over to you, Advocate.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think perhaps let me start with this general remark, because again, there seems to be a debate around this issue without necessarily us being at idem as to what the proposition is. The idea about the composition of the committee is not that the committee is improperly constituted. That's not our submission. Our submission is it shouldn't be constituted as it is. And that's the Part B fight, if you will, that is happening in court next year. I thought I'll just place that on record. No one is suggesting that it shouldn't be constituted as it is currently. Ms. Mente, then I want to ask you a couple of re-examination questions. It has been put to you that you did not deny making threatening statements. Do you recall when that cross-exam came? I don't know if you can hear me, Ms. Mente. Ms. Mente, can you hear me?
Honorable Chair, it seems as if Honorable Mente is not on the platform. Thank you.
Now I am back, Chair. My other gadget, the battery died. So I've changed gadgets and I will not be able to put on the video on this one. We can continue.
Thank you, Ms. Mente. I was saying to you, we've got 15 minutes, so I'm going to move quite speedily. And I'm going to ask you to, if you don't mind, unless you feel strongly, just answer me directly, so that I'm able to put all these questions to you. I only have been allocated 15 minutes. So I'm saying to you, do you recall when it was put to you that you did not deny making the impugned statements? Do you recall that?
Yes.
And is there anywhere where it shows you admitting making the impugned statements?
No.
And if anything, what appears on the Hansard and undisputed is you asked at least 3 times, what must I withdraw? You recall that?
Yes, that's correct, Advocate.
You asking what must I withdraw? What does that imply?
It implies that the speaker must then refer to Hansard in order to ascertain exactly what was said.
Does it suggest you admitting anything?
Sorry, objection, Chair.
Not at all.
I think, Chairperson.
Yes, Initiator.
Chair, I think that even my learned friend will agree with me that that was a leading question. You are not permitted to ask leading questions during re-examination. He is suggesting the answers to Ms. Mente, and I object to that.
Let me see. I'll ask the question again and digest it from the perspective of the initiator and see if I agree. Ms. Mente, does the answer that you gave, what must I withdraw, indicate you admitting anything? Do you still have an objection, initiator, to that?
Yes, definitely. You're suggesting the answer to her.
I'll move on, Chairperson. The second point I want to ask Ms. Mente is this. The charge sheet refers to a disturbing and volatile exchange of remarks, or you are accused of exchanging remarks that are disturbing and volatile. Do you recall that?
Yes, I recall that, but also in the previous question, which I've also answered to the initiator, there is no way where I've admitted that I've said something, and I've also clarified to the initiator during cross-questioning that the fact that I said there's context which must be looked at means that the speaker must go and look at the context. The fact that I say what is it that I must withdraw, it means that I do not know what I must withdraw and what I said, therefore the speaker must go and assert it. And that has been the same answer to her.
Yes, and it's clearly an important dispute of fact as to it. Would you say it is an important dispute of fact as to what it is that you said?
Absolutely.
And you've been accused of not making follow-ups about certain aspects. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Given how important a dispute of fact this is, do you know if any structure of this House or the Speaker or anyone for that matter went and followed up with Honorable Zulu as to what it is that she heard? Do you know?
No, there was no such investigation according to me. Neither it is in the bundle that is used to charge me.
So let me understand, you're saying to the best of your knowledge, no one, despite you being charged, no one from this house, this parliament has ever asked you what it is that you had said?
I've never been asked for any information besides when I received a charge sheet charging me for something that happened a year ago, and not being furnished with the reasons why the speaker did not come back with her undertaking before she can go and file a report.
Were you ever told why no one has asked you, or Honorable Zulu, or Honorable Nkweba, what words are being exchanged? Were you ever told why that question was never followed up on?
No.
Let's move to the next part. And of course, you know, they have not been called as witnesses here either. You know this, not so?
Yes.
In other words, we still don't have their versions, even when they had an option to call a witness, not so?
Absolutely.
Let's move to the second aspect of what I want to ask you. You were cross-examined extensively about the fairness of how you were treated. You recall that?
Yes.
In fact, you suggested that the speaker did not even care about what the facts were, and you did not refer to the Hansard, but that's the answer you gave. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Have reference to page 389 of the Hansard. If you go to the second last paragraph, 389 of the Hansard, you confirm if this is what you're referring to. The
Yes.
speaker then says, in fact, this is what you say first. I want you to be clear, speaker. I want you to know. And as you're making that point, the speaker interjects and she says, I'm requesting you. It does not matter what happened now. Is that what we're referring to?
Absolutely.
In other words, the speaker did not care to find out what the facts were before she asked you to withdraw.
Yeah, she had made up her mind. She just gave me an ultimatum.
Thank you. Let's then move on to the third aspect I want to deal with. You were also told that the same treatment that you got from the speaker is the same one that Nkweba MP got, not so?
Come again. I think my network is failing me.
Okay.
Come again, advocate.
Yes, Ms. Mente. I'm saying earlier on, you were told that the same treatment that you were given was given to Nkweba MP as well. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And we were told that there are stacks and stacks of boxes in some office. Do you recall that?
Absolutely.
Yes. And we were also told that you've received training around these rules. Do you recall that?
Yes.
In that training that you were furnished, were you told that if a speaker takes an unlawful or unfair decision, as you see it, in respect of one member, it then necessarily makes it lawful and fair to do the same to another member? Was that part of your training?
Yeah.
I'll rephrase the question. Does the conduct of the speaker being unlawful, if you view it as being unlawful, and she addresses it to one member of parliament, does that then mean she can unlawfully and unfairly treat another member, in this instance, you?
No.
So
And
then let
in
me ask
fact, if I may just expand a little bit, sorry. When Caso was giving evidence, he mentioned that I think more than 2 times. Every time a speaker says something or makes a ruling is based on the facts that she would have ascertained and on the matters that have taken place or transpired right before her own eyes, and she will rule on it.
Yes, and you're suggesting that did not happen in your case.
It did not happen in my case because there is nowhere on Hansard where I'm offending or saying anything unparliamentary, which then leads up to what is being used to charge me now, where I was protesting to say, what is it that I must withdraw? Because I did not say anything. I don't remember saying anything.
So then I ask you this as a round of question to this theme of questioning. of what moment is it, if any, that the Speaker asked Ms. Mugweba MP to withdraw a statement, and she did? In relation to you, the fact that Ms. Mugweba retracted, in relation to you, what does that matter? In other words, what does it matter that Ms. Mugweba withdrew her statement?
I would think because Ms. Mugweba withdrew and Ms. Mugweba is an ANC member. So ordinarily, the speaker who comes from the ANC, when they put any ruling to the members of the ANC, they must comply with that ruling because they are the same caucus. But when it comes to me, I wouldn't know why she took that particular route, and I wouldn't understand why she was not interested on facts, but take whatever Zulu was saying to her as true, and therefore it must be applicable to me as well.
Thank you. And then a question.
Advocate, I think we're left with 2 minutes. Can you try to wrap up?
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Mente, just 3 questions quickly. You were first asked, why didn't you explain to the Speaker what happened? Were you asked to explain to the Speaker what happened?
I wasn't asked to explain, I was asked to withdraw.
And then what you were also asked is, in fact, this was a statement from Tseke MP, I think it is, where she says she has reached a conclusion that your conduct was unparliamentary. And then I also want to quote Mlenzana MP on the conclusion that he has equally reached at this stage already. Mlenzana, when given Mlenzana MP, I sincerely apologize, Mhlekazi. Mlenzana MP specifically says, let me put it to you for your comment. You deliberately read from the rules to defy the Speaker. In other words, he too has reached a conclusion at this stage already. And these are the members of the committee one would have expected will apply an independent mind, having considered the totality of the evidence and applied the legal test to those facts. But at this stage, at least, we've got an indication from 2 members that they've reached conclusions about your behavior. Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, hence my answer to them that is a foregone conclusion. And hence there is a question mark on the compilation of this particular committee, which must decide on the power and the privilege each and every member of the House is having. So they have concluded, and that is why I said there's nothing for me to comment about on his views, because that his views are the foregone conclusion that I have breached or contempt of Parliament, whatever charges they put to me.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mente. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Advocate. Thanks, honorable members. I'm looking at the time. It's now 22:04. I may invite Advocate to invite the second witness so that he may take an oath, and then we'll proceed tomorrow morning.
Sorry, Chair, there's just a slight deliberation between the initiator and myself. You can just borrow us a minute if you. I'm not borrowing, I'm actually asking for it. I'm not going to give it back. Can you just allow us a minute to just deliberate on an issue if you don't mind, Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Recording stopped.
Chair.
Recording in progress.
Chair, thank you for that opportunity. Can we have a bathroom break just for 3 minutes and then we can resume then?
No problem, initiate.
Thank you.
No problem. 5 minutes.